The beast unleashed. The sky over the mining colony burned crimson, lit by distant explosions and the flicker of laser fire. The sprawling complex, carved into the rocky plains of Kepler 9b, was a lifeline for humanity, a fragile outpost scraping rare minerals from the planet's crust. Today it was under siege. Colonists ran for cover, their voices drowned by the roar of war machines and the bellow of alien war cries. From the lead alien cruiser, a figure stood overlooking the carnage with cold, calculating eyes. Queen Zelthara, ruler of the Varkari Empire. Her lithe frame was draped in dark, iridescent armor that shimmered like oil on water. Her mandibles clenched in impatience. At her side, the ground rumbled with the heavy steps of a creature unlike anything humans had seen before. A Krellfang, a massive wolf-like predator bred for war. Its fur was mottled in shadowy black and silver, muscles rippling beneath its thick hide. Yellow eyes burned with predatory intensity. Vor'Kash was the ultimate weapon, bred to crush resistance and obey only the Queen's commands. Today he was unleashed. The Queen's voice echoed through the comms, cold and commanding. Vor'Kash, tear through their defenses. Leave nothing alive. With a guttural growl, the beast lunged forward, teeth bared and claws digging into the dirt. It charged toward the scattered humans with terrifying speed. Among the chaos, a young mechanic named Eli Ward sprinted across the compound. His overalls were smeared with grease and dust, his hands trembling as he clutched a small power core, the colony's last hope to restore failing shields. Around him, explosions tore apart walls, but Eli's focus was unshakable. Then, suddenly a low growl froze him in place. From the shadows, Vor'Kash emerged, massive and silent now. The beast's glowing eyes locked onto Eli, and for a moment, time seemed to stop. The other soldiers fled, but Eli stood firm, heart pounding. The Krellfang snarled, a warning or a challenge, but it did not attack. Eli swallowed hard, trying not to show fear. He reached slowly into his pocket and pulled out a small, cracked comm badge. "Easy," he whispered, voice steady despite the adrenaline surging through his veins. "I'm not your enemy." Vor'Kash's head tilted, a low whine vibrating in its throat. The beast stepped closer, sniffing the air around Eli. The human held his breath. Suddenly, the creature crouched, lowering its massive body in a submissive stance. It was a gesture no one in the colony had ever witnessed from such a fearsome predator. Watching this, Queen Zelthara's eyes narrowed in disbelief. "What trick is this?" she hissed into her communicator. "Vor'Kash, attack. Kill him." But the Krellfang remained motionless. Furious, the Queen activated a mental command through her neural interface, a pulse designed to force obedience in her pet's mind. Vor'Kash stiffened, muscles twitching, but then instead of charging, it growled again and turned away, as if rejecting the command. The Queen's jaw clenched. No creature had ever defied her will. Eli, sensing his chance, cautiously extended his hand. "I'm Eli. I won't hurt you." Vor'Kash sniffed his palm, the scent of oil and sweat mingling with something strangely familiar to the beast. Without warning, it nudged Eli's shoulder gently with its snout. A spark ignited between man and monster. "Impossible," muttered the Queen, her voice dripping with contempt. Eli's mind raced. This was no mere animal. Vor'Kash wasn't just a killing machine. Something about him, something human, had awakened the creature's loyalty. Behind Eli, an explosion shook the ground, but he barely noticed. His attention was locked on the massive beast, now calmly following his every movement. "Get that mechanic out of sight," the Queen barked in her comm. "If he controls the Krellfang, we lose everything." But it was too late. Vor'Kash padded forward, brushing past startled soldiers. His heavy paws crushed the gravel, yet his movements were controlled, almost gentle. The creature seemed to understand Eli's silent commands better than the Queen's orders. Eli's heart thundered in his chest. For months, he'd dreamed of a way to defend their colony, but never like this. The bond was fragile, but it was real. "Come on," Vor'Kash, Eli murmured, leading the beast behind the battered walls of the colony's repair bay. Let's figure this out. Queen Zelthara's face twisted with rage as she watched her prized weapon slip from her grasp. The challenge was clear. This human had done the impossible, tamed a monster bred for war. And she would not forget. Taming the monster. The repair bay was a cramped, noisy sanctuary deep inside the mining colony. Walls scarred from years of heavy labor, flickering lights overhead, and a constant hum of machinery filled the air. Yet in the middle of it all, Eli Ward stood calm, an island of quiet determination amid chaos. Vor'Kash lay on the concrete floor, massive head resting on broad paws, his yellow eyes half closed but alert. The Krellfang's breathing was slow and even now, no longer the ferocious war machine Queen Zelthara had unleashed. Instead, he seemed tamed. Eli crouched beside him, fingers trembling slightly as he inspected the creature's thick, armored hide. "You're more than just muscle, aren't you?" Eli whispered. "You understand me." The bond was a mystery that defied everything Eli knew about the Varkari war beasts. Vor'Kash obeyed every subtle command. Sit, stay, even guarding Eli's workbench without a hint of aggression. The Queen's orders to kill or attack were met with a cold refusal. How could this be? His thoughts flashed back to his childhood on Earth, where he had spent hours with dogs, training, bonding, gaining their trust. Maybe it was that. Maybe deep down, Vor'Kash was more animal than weapon, more loyal than programmed. Eli picked up scraps of broken tech, assembling a crude translator device. It was rudimentary, a patchwork of colony parts cobbled together, but it would help him communicate basic commands and receive vocal feedback from the beast's neural implant. Vor'Kash's brain was linked to the Queen's control network, but perhaps the link could be rerouted. The moment the device powered up, Vor'Kash tilted his head curiously. Eli activated it, sending a simple signal, sit. Vor'Kash lowered his massive body without hesitation, eyes fixed on Eli. A small smile cracked Eli's dusty face. This was more than luck, it was a bond. But the colony wasn't safe. The Queen's frustration was boiling over. Her voice crackled through intercepted comm channels, cold and furious. Retrieve the Krellfang at once. The mechanic's influence must be erased. Varkari scientists soon arrived, clad in bio-armored suits and carrying devices designed to override Vor'Kash's neural implants. They aimed laser instruments at the beast's head, ready to force obedience through pain and shock. Eli's heart pounded. "No," he muttered. "Not like this." Vor'Kash growled low and deep, a sound that rattled the steel beams. When the first device emitted a sharp pulse, the beast lunged, not at Eli, but at the Varkari scientists. His teeth flashed like lightning, tearing through armor plating. Chaos exploded. The Queen's soldiers fired plasma bolts, but Vor'Kash was swift and fierce, protecting Eli as if he was his own pack leader. The creature's loyalty was unmistakable and terrifying in its intensity. Eli ducked behind a console, shouting commands through the translator. "Vor'Kash, no kill. Stop." Miraculously, the beast obeyed, halting mid-attack and settling again at Eli's side. In the command ship orbiting above, Queen Zelthara seethed. "How is this possible?" she demanded, her voice sharp with disbelief. One of her top scientists replied, "It's a neural override failure. The mechanic is somehow bypassing the link. It's unprecedented." Zelthara's eyes burned with rage. "Bring the human to me. I will break this insolence." Meanwhile, Eli worked feverishly. Every moment counted. He modified the translator to intercept and scramble the Queen's commands, like a firewall protecting Vor'Kash's mind. "Good boy," Eli said softly as Vor'Kash rested his head on Eli's knee. The beast's breath was warm, a steady rhythm of life beneath his calloused fingers. "Why you?" Eli wondered aloud. "Why me?" In the quiet moments, Eli recalled the colony's hardships, the endless repairs, the loss of friends to alien raids, the constant threat of extinction. Maybe, just maybe, this bond was humanity's last hope. But the Queen was not idle. A squad of elite Varkari warriors stormed the colony, searching for Eli and his pet. They were ruthless, burning through barricades and leaving destruction in their wake. Eli knew hiding wouldn't last. "Vor'Kash," Eli said, voice firm, "we need a plan." The beast stood, muscles rippling, eyes bright with fierce intelligence. He wasn't just a weapon anymore. He was a partner. Together, they slipped through the maze of corridors, avoiding patrols and alarms. Eli guided Vor'Kash with gentle commands, careful to keep their bond strong. At one point, a group of soldiers cornered them. Vor'Kash growled low, but Eli raised a hand. "Not yet," Eli said. "Wait for my signal." The soldiers advanced, weapons raised. Then Eli gave a command, and Vor'Kash surged forward, fast, precise, unstoppable. The warriors fell back in shock and fear. But Eli spared them. "No unnecessary killing," he said, and the beast obeyed. Back in the shadows, Eli's mind raced with possibilities. If Vor'Kash could resist the Queen's control, maybe other war beasts could too. Maybe humanity could turn the Varkari's greatest weapon against them. The night stretched on, thick with tension. But for the first time since the invasion began, Eli felt something new. Hope. The Queen's rage. The cold metal walls of the Varkari command ship thrummed with tension. Queen Zelthara paced her private chamber, her thoughts consumed by the defiance of one insignificant human and the beast she had bred to be her ultimate weapon. Her fingers curled into fists, nails clicking sharply on the armrest of her throne. The Krellfang Vor'Kash had been the pride of her conquest, untouchable, unbeatable. And yet, now, it obeyed a mechanic, a human. A flashing alert announced the arrival of her personal envoy. The door hissed open, revealing a sleek Varkari officer with data pads glowing in his hands. "My queen," he said, bowing deeply. The mechanic and the Krellfang have been located. They are hiding in the lower sectors of the colony. Our forces cannot contain the beast. Vor'Kash refuses all commands except those of the human. Zelthara's mandibles quivered with rage. "Bring me that mechanic," she spat. "I will remind that insect why he should bow before the Varkari Queen." Within minutes, a sleek assault ship pierced the atmosphere of Kepler 9b, descending swiftly toward the damaged colony. Inside, Eli felt the tightening noose of pursuit. He crouched behind a pile of debris, Vor'Kash resting his enormous head beside him. "We can't keep running forever," Eli whispered. "She's coming for us, personally." Vor'Kash's eyes flickered with primal understanding, a low growl rumbling in his throat. The beast was ready to fight, but Eli needed a plan, one that didn't end in slaughter. Outside, the Queen's ship landed with brutal precision. The heavy doors hissed open, and Zelthara emerged, radiating authority. Her gaze locked on Eli like a predator sizing prey. "You have stolen what belongs to me," she said coldly, voice resonating through the chamber. "Vor'Kash is not yours to command." Eli stood, wary but steady. "He listens to me because I don't treat him like a weapon. You control through pain and fear. I offer trust." Zelthara's eyes narrowed. "Your sentiment is weakness." With a flick of her wrist, she summoned her elite guards and advanced toward Vor'Kash. "I will reset him." The Queen revealed a sleek neural disruptor, a device designed to overwrite the beast's mind. It glowed ominously as she attached it to Vor'Kash's temple. The Krellfang shuddered violently. A roar tore from his throat, a sound of pain and confusion. Eli acted without hesitation. "Vor'Kash, listen to my voice." A faint, calming tone escaped from the translator device Eli had built. The neural link buzzed and crackled, but the beast fought to resist. With a final shudder, Vor'Kash stopped his wild thrashing and froze, eyes glazed. The Queen smiled triumphantly. "You see, he belongs to me." But then, in a moment that shocked everyone, Eli stepped forward and whispered one simple word. "Vor'Kash." The beast's eyes snapped back to focus, locking on Eli's face. Slowly, the fog of the Queen's command lifted. A guttural growl swelled in Vor'Kash's throat, not of pain, but of defiance. The neural disruptor sparked and overloaded, short-circuiting under the strain. Zelthara's fury exploded. Impossible. This human. He has broken my control. The queen barked orders for her guards to seize Eli. But Vor'Kash sprang into action, a living wall between Eli and the queen's soldiers. With calculated ferocity, the Krellfang struck down the first wave, but Eli held up a hand. No unnecessary killing. Protect, don't destroy. The beast obeyed instantly. Eli grabbed a plasma rifle from a fallen soldier and fired disabling shots at the queen's reinforcements, while Vor'Kash blocked their advance. The queen's plans unraveled before her eyes. The chaos gave Eli an opening. "Vor'Kash, cover me!" he shouted, sprinting toward the ship's engine core. The queen snarled and lunged after them, but Vor'Kash intercepted, teeth bared and claws digging into the floor. "Stand down, beast!" Zel'Thara screamed. "You are mine!" Vor'Kash growled, and then, in a move that sealed the moment, he turned away from the queen and stood protectively by Eli's side. With deft hands, Eli rigged an explosive device to the engine core, setting a timer. "Time to go," he said. The pair raced through corridors filled with alarm sirens and flashing red lights. Behind them, the queen's rage echoed through the ship's speakers. "Remember this day, human," she vowed. "You have not won." Eli didn't answer. His focus was on survival, on escape, and on the bond that had saved them both. As the countdown hit 0, the ship shook violently, flames licking the walls. Vor'Kash bolted through the blast radius, carrying Eli on his back. Outside, the queen's warship erupted in a fiery explosion, a blazing monument to her failure. Eli gasped for breath, heart pounding, eyes locked on the retreating figure of Zel'Thara. The queen had lost her prize weapon, but Eli knew this was only the beginning. Vor'Kash licked his face gently, a reminder that no matter the danger, their bond had become unbreakable. Human Alpha. The ruined remains of the queen's warship smoldered against the backdrop of Kepler, 9b's Crimson Sky. The explosion was more than just a tactical victory. It was a symbol that even the mightiest empire could be challenged by a single human and his unlikely ally. Eli Ward stood at the edge of the colony's command center, his gaze steady as Vor'Kash lounged nearby, muscles still tense from the escape, but eyes calm and watchful. Around them, the surviving colonists and resistance fighters gathered, their faces a mixture of awe and hope. "People," Eli said, his voice clear and resolute, "this is our moment. We've turned the tide, not with bigger weapons, but with trust and unity." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Word of Vor'Kash's defiance of the Varkari queen had spread like wildfire. Other war beasts across the occupied territories began exhibiting strange behavior. Hesitation, confusion, even obedience to humans who treated them with respect rather than fear. The Varkari Empire's control over their beasts was cracking. Eli had spent days working alongside engineers and scientists, modifying Vor'Kash's neural interface. He fitted the creature with reinforced armor plates scavenged from the queen's wreckage, along with advanced sensors and tools, turning the once terrifying predator into a guardian and symbol of human resilience. "Let's show them what we're made of," Eli told Vor'Kash, who responded with a low, approving growl. The resistance planned a decisive strike. An ambush on the Varkari flagship docked in orbit, the heart of their fleet's command. If they could cripple it, the entire invasion could collapse. Boarding a stolen dropship, Eli and Vor'Kash soared into the dark expanse of space, moving like shadows toward their target. Inside the flagship, Queen Zel'Thara seethed. Her pride shattered, her empire humiliated. She paced her throne room, the weight of defeat heavy on her shoulders. "This human and his beast have turned my war against me," she snarled. But the queen always finds a way. Her advisors urged caution, but Zel'Thara's mind was set on revenge. Meanwhile, Eli's dropship pierced the flagship's hull under the cover of a sensor blackout. Vor'Kash was ready, his enhanced claws clicking on the metal floors, eyes scanning for threats. The corridors were eerily quiet. Eli activated a comm beacon. "Vor'Kash, stay close. We need to reach the engine core." As they moved deeper, security drones whirred to life. Vor'Kash leapt forward, dismantling them with swift precision. The Resistance's new strategy relied on speed and surprise, and the Krellfang's raw power was the perfect weapon. At the core chamber, Eli interfaced with the systems, planting charges to overload the main reactor. Suddenly, alarms blared. Varkari guards flooded the hallway. "Vor'Kash, block the exit," Eli commanded. The Krellfang roared, a terrifying sound that echoed down the corridors. Guards hesitated before charging, but one by one, they fell to the beast's precise strikes, incapacitated but not killed. Eli's timer ticked down. Almost done. A shadow moved at the edge of the doorway. Queen Zelthara appeared, radiating cold fury. "You think you could destroy my fleet and walk away?" Eli stood firm. "I think you underestimated us." The queen lunged, but Vor'Kash intercepted, fangs clashing against alien armor. The battle was fierce, but the beast fought not just with muscle, but with the bond forged through trust and respect. Zelthara snarled and retreated, her plans collapsing. As the charges detonated, the flagship shook violently. Eli and Vor'Kash escaped just before the core erupted in a fiery blast, sending shockwaves through the enemy fleet. Back on the ground, the victory ignited a spark among the colonies and rebel factions. The story of a human mechanic and his loyal Krellfang spread, inspiring hope and defiance. The Varkari Empire was shaken, but not broken. In the aftermath, Eli looked at Vor'Kash, now more than a weapon or a pet, a partner, a friend, a symbol. "The queen bred monsters," Eli said quietly, "but we taught them loyalty." The colony's people rallied around this new truth. Strength was not in domination, but in trust, respect, and the unexpected power of a human heart. And as the stars gleamed overhead, Eli knew their fight was far from over. But with Vor'Kash by his side, humanity had found a new alpha to lead the charge.